All right, keep those hands together for the next storyteller of the night, Michelle.
Yeah, that's a very hard act to follow. So, we all know about generational, divisional divides. And, I'm almost 60. I know I look good for and my husband and I, Eddie, who was up here already, he's mentioned we've raised 18 children through foster care. And we started with our first in 1989. And a couple years ago, we took in our great nephews, who were like 8 and 10, into the house. And although we had raised a bunch of kids, this was the first time I had ever seen kids just obsessed with video games. And the older boy, I'll call him Cassidy, because that's his name. He was a particularly intense little boy, and he's beautiful. Like, I would go to Myers and strangers would say, "Oh, you're so handsome." And I'd say, "Don't let it get to your head." It's like, you're smart and you got other qualities. Don't let it. But anyway, he's a charming, and I would fall for him, anything he said, anytime. He just completely charmed the shoes off me. So he came into our house, and he had a lot of trauma growing up, and so we tried to be gentle and understanding, but he did gravitate, and we'd find like tablets would be missing, and my phone would be missing, and he'd be like staying up all night on these electronics, and we were like trying to put these firm boundaries. No, you can't do this. And so, we'd say, maybe if you have a good day, we'll let you have, like a few hours on the weekends, and try to control it. And so he said, I've got anger issues, and he told my husband and I, what really helps me is if I go for a walk to the park around the corner, and I like to climb the trees. Now, he knew that would get me every time. I like to be with nature and climbing the trees, and I was like, okay, go, be with nature. This is healthy. This is good. He's turning a corner. Well, one day I was up in his room, cleaning his room, and he usually cleaned up enough that I would leave it alone, but I got this idea. I'd never checked under his bed. So I lift up the mattress and check under his bed. Under his bed are dozens and dozens and dozens of containers from GameStop. Empty containers from GameStop. And the cheapest one was like $17 price tag. They had some with a $150 price tag for games. Most of the games were about $30, $35. And he's got dozens and dozens and dozens of them under his bed, empty ones. And I'm like, what the hell? So I try to do an investigation. I call him up, I scream his name, and said, "Get up here, what's going on?" Not the best parenting, but and he's like, "Oh, they were presents from my mom, and they were presents from," my bullshit meter's going like crazy. Like, I don't believe this. This is not making any sense. And so after much grueling talk and getting him doing almost like an intervention with his mom and his brothers, and we find out that he has been selling Pokemon cards in his school and getting hundreds of dollars from kids for Pokemon cards. I'm thinking, now, like, who has hundreds of dollars to spend on Pokemon? And these Pokemon cards are like cheap. They're not collectors. He is just so charming and such a salesman. He was just selling them. And so I'm like, I'm going to the school. I'm going to talk to the vice principal. And he was going to a school in Southwest Detroit. And I love the school, but they had a lot of turnover because they treat the teachers like shit. And they teach the principals like shit. So they constantly leave and they get new people, and just when you get to know them, they're gone. So I go to this brand new vice principal, and I say to her, these kids are paying hundreds of dollars. Someone's got to stop them. You've got to stop letting this Pokemon stuff go on. And she looks at me and she says, "Well, there's only one way these people would get hundreds of dollars. And I don't want to bring them into the school to talk about it." And I I mean, I thought my eyeballs were gonna pop out of my head. I thought I was gonna grab him by the throat. I was so angry. What do you mean, these? It was like wrong on so many levels. These people. And I go, and there's a friend of mine who works as a tutor in the school, and I told her, she goes, oh, me and the lunch ladies, we got it covered. We'll get to the bottom of this. So I ditched the vice principal. The lunch ladies tell me like who the culprits are. There's this one boy, Stefano, that's like got like the most money who's coming in. And come to find out, he was stealing it from his older sister who was saving up to get a house. Right. So now all of this comes out. Now I have to go deal with GameStop. Don't ever go to GameStop. I hate GameStop. So I come to GameStop. I've been talking to them and saying, they go, oh yeah, that boy, he would come by around, you know, after dinner, like the time he was supposed to be climbing the trees. So he'd drive by on his bike across Grand River, and I'm like, oh, a really busy street. And he would sometimes give us three $100 bills. I said, why are you taking three $100 bills from a 10-year-old boy? You know, so they took all this, but they were selling him this stuff left and right with this money. And then I come back, I get all the stuff back in packages, I put everything together, everything I got back in this same container. I take it up to them, and they say, where's the receipt? And I say, receipt? I don't have a receipt. We can only give you trade-in value for these items. I said, you know he's bought all this stuff from you, and you're only gonna give me like a dime on the dollar, the trade-in value? Yeah, and they said, and only as a gift card to our GameStop. So I wanna just end this by saying that Cassidy, I don't worry about him. I know that this boy is a survivor and will always find a way to make money. And I just hope it's not in jail.